Hello, welcome to today's edition of Breakoff. Now for 15 days, 32 of the world's best have been coming out from behind this famous curtain, walking down the entrance and hearing the legendary applause from a packed Crucible crowd. But now we are finally down to the last two. The name of the first player to qualify for the 2015 Betfred World Snooker Championship final was Shaun Murphy. Not a huge surprise, bearing in mind that he resumed 16-8 up against the world number 5 Barry Hawkins. Hawkins got a massive reception when he came out here earlier today. He started brilliantly with a century, but Murphy got across the line for a 17-9 victory, and he was understandably delighted when he caught up with Ivan Hershevitz after the press conference.
Aside from winning the tournament and big tournaments like the other majors we've got, getting to the final and being part of such a special occasion is about as good as it gets. You know, the world final in our sport is one of the world's biggest sporting moments. So to be a part of it, again, is something I'm thrilled about. Can't wait.
You've made 11 centuries in the tournament. You're obviously on top of your game, especially your break building.
Yeah, it's something I've worked very hard on. I've tried to go back to a more of a natural style in the last couple of seasons of going for my shots and enjoying the style of play. Not trying to get bogged down too much with safety and tactics, which have never been my strong point. And what can I say? This week, it's working.
How did it feel coming back today? 16-8 is a kind of funny position to come back in, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if someone had have offered me 16-8 at the start of the match, you need one more frame in the last session, I'd have snapped their end off. But it would have been nice to have won the match with a session to spare purely for the history books, but it wasn't to be. And in a funny kind of way, I kind of enjoyed getting suited up again and coming back and having another crack in the arena.
Well, what an opportunity it's going to be for Shaun Murphy tomorrow. But before we focus on the second semi-final and who's going to join him in this epic climax, it's clear that the experience here in Sheffield isn't just restricted to right here inside this famous arena. The whole city becomes a festival of sport and culture. There is so much going on to entertain. Well, the Winter Gardens has been our focus for the last couple of weeks, but as we're edging closer to the climax of the championship, so we're getting nearer and nearer to the front doors of the Crucible. But here's an interesting addition to the skyline in Tudor Square, this rather fascinating dome. Let's get in there and find out why it's here and what it's all about. Well, apart from a really cool ceiling, this place is an all-encompassing BBC experience, and the whole premise is to get involved. Jodie, what can people do in here?
Basically, you can have a go at various things. You can try making a radio drama, you can have a go at sports commentating, you can even try and do some weather broadcasting if you like.
And is it about finding the next generation of broadcasters, or is it just giving people a flavour of what each of the different jobs entail?
It's about giving people an idea of what the BBC actually does. Where does your licence fee go? What are we doing apart from the programmes that you love to see? Cool,
thanks. And what's the most popular area, do you think?
Most popular area is probably the have a go at being a news presenter and doing the weather as well, just round the corner.
Well, there's a touch of glamour there with some of the BBC's top shows, and here, if you're into radio and music, this is the place to be. So, Paul, what can people get involved and hear or do on the radio section?
They can do a little bit of radio presenting, so they can introduce a song and see what it's like actually working on a music-driven radio station. But we also have our radio drama department here, so they can have a little go at going through a script. We have sound effects, practical sound effects and digital ones, so they can have a real go at having a go at an audio drama, being an actor on the radio.
That is so cool. And one of the things when you first start broadcasting that you've noticed is how weird your voice sounds to yourself. Is that what people comment about when they first have a go?
Yes, you'd be amazed how scared people are of microphones, first of all. You ask them to have a go and then they, oh my word, no, not a microphone. But then they hear themselves back, and even worse, they're, oh, I don't sound like that, do I? So, it's that thing of people listening to themselves, and getting over those fears, really.
Well, one of the most important parts of the BBC is surely children's, because all of us have watched a little bit at some stage. This is a fantastic timeline, but I can't believe it. If you're as old as me, you might remember Why Don't You? But it's not listed on the board. It definitely happened somewhere between the 70s and the 80s, but maybe I'm just way too old. Rebecca's overseeing this section. Rebecca, children's TV has become so much more interactive compared to when dinosaurs like me were watching 35 and a bit years ago. Fantastic that the children get their hands on the iPads and actually get involved with TV.
Yep, there's lots of different apps here which the kids can come down and try from CBeebies and CBBC. Down here as well we've got a lovely make and create table where they can come down and make boats. Lots of pens, glitter, fun for everyone.
Well, for any aspiring commentators, this is definitely the booth to come to. There's an opportunity to have a crack. The British Championships 100 metres, Asher Phillips winning the semi-finals last year. There's an Arsenal match, and there's also Six Nations rugby, England against Italy. If you're in Sheffield for the next couple of days, that is definitely the place to be. If news reading's your thing, or you think it might be, aka Hugh Edwards and the rest of the gang, then this, I suspect, is one of the most popular elements of this all-encompassing BBC interactive experience. So, Hannah, we've actually got auto cue, they can sit down, they can have a go. Has anybody pretty good had a go yet?
Yeah, loads, absolutely loads. It's like a real live studio, and we've had so many people come in that have been brilliant. So, yeah, might have a budding star here in Sheffield.
And I guess the premise of all of this is just giving people a flavour of what goes on to make all the programmes that they watch, because it's the old adage in TV, isn't it, that the swan looks all calm and composed on the top, but there's a whole lot of effort going on in different directions under the water.
Absolutely, and I think a lot of them are really shocked at how hard it is to read from an auto cue and try and look in the camera and everything all at the same time. So, yeah.
And you go around the country, so obviously it makes sense at the moment that you're attached to Sheffield because of the snooker, so the whole focus of the country in a sporting context is here in Sheffield. Where do you go next, and how do you pick which events to tag on the back of?
We just try and go all across the UK and at events that lots of people will be at. So this time we're at the snooker. We might next time be at somewhere like the Highland Show in Scotland. We're just trying to make, go everywhere so that people can, from all different parts of the country, come and see us. So a wide spread.
Okay, so if people can't get down here to Sheffield today, where are you going next? Where can they catch you up?
We're going to be in Bradford on the 5th of June for the BBC Music Day that's happening there. So we've got loads going on, big stages, lots of music, lots of singers. It's going to be brilliant. So they can come down there, up there.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. So if you can't get down to Sheffield to get involved here, go to Bradford at the start of June and log on to the BBC website. There's loads of information about where you can catch this interactive experience up. It is well worth a go. Well, please get in touch with us if you've got any views on your whole Sheffield experience. We would love to hear your thoughts. Now, speaking of which, snooker is very lucky to have some famous friends, and it's always nice to catch up with them and find out what they make of their Crucible experiences. Well, it is amazing, the galaxy of sporting stars who seem to love snooker and love coming here to the Crucible. This guy, you may recognise, the Liverpool and Germany legend, Didi Hamann. Didi, how long have you been a snooker fan?
Well, I've been a snooker fan for a long time. I've been watching it, I've been here 17 years now, for the best part of 14, 15 years, I'd say. I've been watching it on TV. Unfortunately, never had a chance to come here, so it's my debut here. But well impressed this morning.
And how did you start getting into snooker? Was there a table at one of the clubs you played at, or have you got a table at home?
No, I did play quite a lot when I was a kid in Germany. We didn't really play snooker. We didn't really know about snooker. We played pool or 9-ball, which I'd say pretty decent. And since I got to England, I started playing snooker, or tried to play snooker. But I think it's a very hard game to master. So I'd rather watch them play.
Can you let us in on whether you've got a top break?
Well, yeah, everybody's got a top break who played, but I'd say it's in the top 20. I think it was 24 or 25, and I think even there I fluked a couple. So I'm nowhere near as good as these guys.
It must be quite nice when you then retire and you begin a different phase of your life, that you then have more time to go and enjoy other sports that previously you would have caught 5 minutes in between training here and there. It must be a nice way to enjoy sport from a different perspective.
It is, but at the same time I do work quite a lot in the media, so I've got to work a lot harder for my money, or earning my money now. So I've put it this way, I've got more time to do my own schedule. So when I want to have a few days off or a week off, I can do so, which is not possible when you play football. So I had the opportunity to go to Ireland. I watched the Six Nations Ireland against England, which I wanted to do for a long time. I'm here now. And as I said, I enjoyed every second when I did play football. I've not missed it a day because I had some fantastic memories, played for some great teams and with some great players. And that's why it's nice to be retired, as you say, to have a new phase of life and have the opportunity on a Friday morning to come here, which wouldn't be possible if I was still playing.
And so to the serious business of who was joining Shaun Murphy in the Betfred World Snooker Championship final. Well, with a scoreline of 13-11 to Stuart Bingham against Judd Trump, it was always destined to be a classic, but my goodness me, we were treated to a feast of top-class snooker under huge amounts of pressure. Bingham went 16-14 up. There were back-to-back centuries from Trump to get himself back into contention, but in the decider, it was Bingham who got across the line. Judd Trump, one of the pre-tournament favourites, a disappointing end to what has been a great season.
Yeah, it was a good match for the neutrals. Really, it was a good match to be involved with. But obviously, me being on the wrong end is not too good. I just left it too late. Really, I tried my best. I gave my all over the past 2 days, but it just didn't quite happen. And probably the most relaxed I felt was at 16-all, but I just didn't really. I had a chance, but just got a little bit unlucky.
2 great centuries to come back to 16-all, but from the very, very early stages, was it a match that you felt you were always chasing?
Yeah, I think the second frame was key. I think I kind of went 1-0 up and then missed an easy ball to go 2-0 up, and kind of same as in Barra's game really. It just kind of turned off that, and I was always chasing after that. I was always behind, and then I knew going into tonight at some point I would play well. And the crowd were obviously excellent, and they got me really up for it. But then in that last frame, it didn't quite happen for me.
Well, Judd Trump magnanimous in defeat there, and he'll bounce back bigger and stronger from this experience. Overall, it has been a great season for the player from Bristol. Ivan, before we hear from Stuart in his post-match press conference, you've joined me here, Ivan Hershevich, Chief Press Officer. They're reclothing the table already. It's a pretty dramatic end to a great, great evening here on Saturday night. Career-defining stuff there from Stuart. 15 years on from his Crucible debut, he has at last made a final.
Yeah, incredible match tonight. One of the best matches I've ever seen at the Crucible. The standard in that final session was just unbelievable. And Bingham played so well in the deciding frame under the most intense pressure. And it's just a great story because he's just such a lovely bloke. You know, I'm sure people watching on TV get that impression. And obviously we've known him behind the scenes for many years. And he spent such a long time as a kind of journeyman trying to make that breakthrough. And what he's done over the last 4 years is just incredible. And, you know, for him to be walking out tomorrow in the World Championship final, I'm sure he just can't believe it himself. Well,
that was certainly the tone in his post-match press conference. He was emotional after beating Ronnie, and there was definitely a hint or two of a tear after that fantastic win tonight over Judd. Here's what he said when we caught up with him after the match. Stuart, a career-defining performance tonight. Surely that was the most important session of snooker in your 20-year career.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, produce it when it mattered against Ronnie, and to do it again out there in the semi-final of the World Championships, it's unreal. Sort of 16-14 up. I had a chance. I went into the pack and nothing happened, and he played 2 unbelievable frames to come back 16-all, and the crowd just, and the noise was deafening, and I may probably had about 5% of the crowd out there, but that sort of pushed me, and I think it took me about 3 chances in the last to get over the line, but the feeling of coming out, knowing that I've got to come out tomorrow and playing for the world final, it's the best feeling in the world.
So Stuart Bingham is into the final. Such a nice guy. But Ivan, as we look ahead to the Betfred World Snooker Championship final, Bingham has to now push all those emotions aside, gather himself, because this is going to be a mighty stern test against Shaun Murphy. But he has to believe he's got a chance, because after all, he's knocked out O'Sullivan and Trump. Yeah, I mean, he said in his press conference, didn't he, that he's 38 years old, he might not get another chance at a World Championship final. Both players have said they just want to go out there and enjoy it, but ultimately, what an opportunity for both of them to go all the way to the biggest prize. Bingham will start the underdog, but not many people thought he would beat O'Sullivan. Not many people thought he would beat Trump. So if he can go out and play against Murphy as he did tonight, then he'll have a great chance. But I think Murphy's played the best snooker of the tournament, and Murphy is the favourite. He will certainly start that way, but as you say, Stuart Bingham hasn't been intimidated by being the underdog all throughout his 20-year career. Thanks very much, Ivan. Please do join us for the final. It's Shaun Murphy bidding for his second title 10 years on from the first against Stuart Bingham, one of the most likeable guys on the circuit, who until this year had never been beyond the quarter-finals. The Betfred World Snooker Championship final starts tomorrow afternoon. Please come back and join us. It promises to be an epic climax to an incredible season. See you for the final tomorrow.